Okay, so we are given that sine of alpha is equal to -4/5, and it lies in quadrant 4. It says find the exact value of cosine of alpha over 2. And so this is a half angle formula. So we're going to use half angle formulas to solve this. So the first thing we need to do is find out what cosine is, because we need cosine in our half angle formula for cosine. So recall that sine of alpha, or any angle basically, is equal to y over r. Cosine of alpha is equal to x over r. And tangent of alpha is equal to y over x. We don't need tangent, but just in case. And we know that the relationship between them is the Pythagorean theorem, so it is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. All right, so we know quadrant 4. So if I look at my quadrant, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Quadrant 4, my y value is negative and my x value is positive. So it's positive, negative. So my cosine should be positive. So I'm going to find out what my cosine value would be. So I have x squared, plugging in what I have, x squared plus y squared, which is going to give me 4 squared, is equal to 5 squared, just using this information that they've given me. So x squared is plus 16 is equal to 25. So x squared is equal to 9. So x is equal to plus or minus 3, and we have to decide which one it is. We just said x has to be positive in quadrant 4. So that means that my cosine of alpha is equal to 3 over 5. We already knew r. Okay? So, with that being said, we now need to find out what our solution should be, because we have the formula for half angle for cosine, and the formula, let me write it down, is cosine of alpha divided by 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 plus alpha divided by 2. Now, it says plus or minus, but that's because we have to determine if it's positive or negative. So let's go ahead, before we even calculate, decide if our answer will be positive or negative. So again, we know that it's in quadrant 4, and so just to remind ourselves where the quadrants are, we have from 0 to 90, from 90 to 180, from 180 to 270, and from 270 to 360. So quadrant 4 is between 270 and 360. Well, if I want half of this, so it's going to be 270 divided by 2, alpha divided by 2, and 360 divided by 2. So that's 135 and 180. And so that looks like it is in quadrant 2. So from 135 to 180 is in quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, what are my x and y values going to be, or which one is going to be positive, which one's going to be negative? So I have a negative x and a positive y. And so we're looking for cosine, so it's going to be positive. I mean, excuse me, negative. So let's okay, so I just moved it up a little bit so I can write a little bit more. All right, so now we're going to plug into our formula. So we have cosine of alpha divided by 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1. We found cosine to be 3 over 5 divided by 2. Notice that I found cosine of alpha, not alpha over 2, because it's asking me for alpha here. So it's not going to be the negative of that. Hope that's not too confusing for anyone. So I get the square root of, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 5 over 5 plus 3 over 5, all divided by 2, which is going to give me the square root of 8 over 5 divided by 2, which is the square root of 8 over 5 times 1/2, keep change flip, which is going to give me the square root of 4 over 5, which is going to give me, we said that it's going to be a negative. So we'll go ahead and put our negative sign there. We can take the square root of 4 is 2. And we can't take the square root of 5, so we'll leave it there. However, you all know that we don't want to leave radicals in our denominator, so we're going to rationalize our denominator. So we're going to have 2 over the root 5 times root 5 over root 5, which gives me negative 2 root 5 over 5. And I hope that this helps.